What's up everyone, Tim here from Everyday Tactical Vids, and today we're going to be talking about my beef with tactical pens. And let me start off by saying I really do like tactical pens. I like the concept. I've always been a fan of things that have multiple functions or multiple purposes. If you are a subscriber to Everyday Tactical Vids, I talk about that a lot. So if you can give me something that can do multiple things, like a Benchmade triage, so it's got the line cutter, the glass breaker, and also the knife. I like something that has multiple features like that. So a tactical pen, use it as a writing utensil, but also use it as a self-defense tool. That for me is a win, and it's a pen. You can take one almost anywhere, so there's lots of positive sides to it. My beef has been that for a lot of the different tactical pens out there, they've got really good features on one side, but then they're lacking in another area. And I've yet to find one that I'm really happy with. Now these I would call kind of middle line, maybe a little bit mid to sort of low when it comes to cost. So as I'm looking here, you're probably talking, one of them is I think $4 or $5, but going all the way up to 60, 50 bucks around there. And then you can spend 200 bucks, 300 bucks. You can, spend money on pretty much anything you want, right, when it comes to tactical gear. But the issues that I've seen in these, I've seen them actually in some other high-end ones as well. So I'll show you what I think are some of the positives and also the downsides, and then I want to hear in the comments down below if you found what you think is the best tactical pen out there. Then share it with me, share it with the other people who are going to be commenting on this video, and get the word out about what you might think is the best tactical pen out there. Let me give you the quick rundown of what we're looking at from the bottom up. We've got the Gerber Impromptu. We've got a Sharpie pen that I got at Target the other day for probably like $6, and I'll tell you why I picked that one up in a little bit. We have the James Williams tactical pen from CRKT, a Fury tactical pen, then we have the Pocket Shark from Cold Steel, and then the Schrade Survival pen. This is the SC Pen 4 BK. First thing I want to address with tactical pens is the actual end of the pen. And in general, the other 4 pens here pass, but these 2, in my opinion, don't pass if you will, the end test. So the Gerber Impromptu, made of metal, got a built-in glass breaker, comes with a Write in the Rain ink cartridge inside, so lots of good features. But when it comes to holding the pen, let me get the Fury one out of the way here. When it comes to holding the pen in a self-defense situation, now if you had to break a window, you could certainly hold it like this, but you're more inclined to hold it like this. And definitely in a self-defense situation, your hand more naturally, you could certainly hold it this way in self-defense, but if you hit something hard, this can certainly slide through. Whereas if you have your thumb there on the end, you've got nice, a nice solid control, and it's just the way your hand naturally falls. If you got questions about this, definitely you could talk to Louis Crudo from Crudo Knives, and he talks about this, all the time when I talk to him at the different shows. But our natural hand does not fall like this in a fist. You have to learn how to do this. Your hand actually naturally just falls like this, and so when he designs knives and different tools, he makes them so they're very comfortable to hold like this. Now that being said, this is a basically you're going to push this on the end if you want to get your pen to come out. But therefore this is movable. Right, so that's going to move up and down or lock in and not lock in, and therefore when you're using it, this thing could be moving, and you just don't want that. I don't think you want to have a pen where you have your thumb, even if it's just a tiny bit, to be moving. On the other end, you have this Fury tactical pen, and again, this is made of aircraft grade aluminum, and has some nice features. One of the things that's really nice about this is you can take this out. This is the less than lethal, and you could put in a more lethal, a much more aggressive end. But same thing with this one. The way you put the pen away with this one is you roll it away like this. Okay, now the pen's gone. But if you're using this end, now look where your thumb is resting. And even if it's not resting there, you're holding here, and now you got this gap, you got this thing moving. So when it comes to the end of the pen, it's just not comfortable if you had to use it in this type of method. I want something flat to rest my hand against. So that for me it's just something that's lacking in at least these 2 tactical pens, and in some others that I've seen. They just, when you have something that's going to be moving on the end, it's just not going to be helpful. I just don't like that in a tactical pen. I will show you this Sharpie here. I picked this one up because it is made of metal, and it was like $6 or $7, and you can always use a Sharpie for different things. But the whole thing is very, very solid. The one downside is just that the end is very small. So, but at least that way you could still have your hand locked in like this. I'm not calling this a tactical pen, so I don't think I'm saying that. But you could definitely still have your hand locked in like that versus having something moving around or having to hold it like this. So that's my first kind of issue when it comes to tactical pens. is the, spin this around real quick, is how they actually, the end is built, and in particular if it's a pen that has a mechanism like one of these push buttons to get your, get the pen to actually come out. The next thing I want to talk about is actually using a pen as a writing tool. So as the Fury tactical pen is set up now, it's definitely very usable as a writing tool. The one thing I don't like about it as much as say the CRKT is that it is a bit big for me. And I showed you, to put the pen away at the end, you basically twist this, and so now the pen is away. But this is just kind of weird to me. I don't know why they didn't come up with another method for how to, basically get your ink cartridge to not be sticking out at the end. That just seems like kind of an odd setup. On the other end, you got the CRKT here. As far as comfort, this one is very comfortable, and you can just see it's kind of wide at the end, a little bit thinner in the middle, and then wide at the other end. And that one I find to be very comfortable to use as a pen. So just holding it, I'll show you real quick here. So just holding it, it fits nicely, it works nicely. The Pocket Shark is relatively ginormous, but let me show real quick here. Twist this off, and then you can see this is actually a marker. So you're probably not going to be, writing a ton of things with a marker. So I don't mind that this one is a little bit bigger. It's a little bit clunky, but this is also probably one I'm not going to carry around most days, like in my pocket as a tactical pen. This would be like in a bag or in a kit or something like that. So that's the other thing that's just been on my mind is the, how usable is it when it comes to being actually functional when it comes to being a writing tool. So that's something else to consider when you get a tactical pen. For some people, they're like, hey, I don't really care how usable it is, or I don't mind a huge pen. But for me, I like something a little bit more sleek, a little bit thinner. So that's something I always weigh when it comes to a tactical pen. How usable is it as a writing tool? The next thing I want to talk about is basically using a tactical pen in a self-defense situation. And I want to contrast these two with these two in that the Fury tactical pen has a very sharp end here, as does the CRKT. Now, one thing that's really good about the Fury pen is that you can swap out this end and put this end on. And when I talked to Mike, who works with Fury at SHOT Show, he was saying that they built this because they found so many tactical pens had very dangerous options. So what they might call lethal, they might call piercing, but they had nothing else as far as this is more like a Kubotan as opposed to something that's really going to pierce into somebody. Now, someone might say, well, if you're in a situation where you're using your pen in self-defense, then, you got to do what you got to do. And I say, yeah, I can understand that. But at the same time, if you had somebody who seemed like they wanted to get aggressive with you and then you popped them with something like this, hit them in the sternum like this, they're really going to know you mean business. So that's certainly a discretion thing. Do you want to go right for, I'm just trying to get this person away from me, or right for I need to totally incapacitate this person at all costs? Something you got to think through. For me, this end, I would definitely swap this out and put on this rounded end. And then also with the CRKT, I like this pen a lot overall, but that is a very pointed end. I mean, doing this into my hand, that's uncomfortable right there. We've talked about the Pocket Shark, just looking at the the Schrade Survival Pen. This one, you can get nice purchase on the end here. And then this is, it can function as a glass break. It's got a little bit of a tip, but it's much more rounded than it is pointed, so that could certainly be used in kind of a Kubotan fashion as well. So that's another thing to think about. Just, do you want to have something that's going to be very aggressive and likely to pierce, or something that's going to be more like a Kubotan? The last thing I want to talk about here with tactical pens is how you actually basically get the pen portion of the pen out. So this is not a tactical pen, this Sharpie, but I want you to just notice this, right? You take the end off, and this slides on here, and that does move around slightly, but there's no side-to-side movement. That's quite secure. And again, not for a tactical pen, just an average pen. When you put it back on, listen to it click into place. So that clicks in, and it's not going to pop off. That's just a simple pen, but I've noticed with some of these other ones, I've already mentioned the Fury here. So you got your pen out now, and if you want to put it away, you basically untwist this until the pen portion is covered. That just, I just don't like that. That just doesn't work for me. With the CRKT, this pops off and then goes on here like this. And as a pen, it works fine. This does have a little bit of movement when it's actually on the pen, and then, or when it's actually on the bottom of the pen. When you put it on like this, there's still a little bit of movement as well. So I just don't like that. I want something locked up nice and secure. Once again, with the Schrade one, this is going to be a definite positive. This thing unscrews, comes down here, and then screws on to this end, and that locks in. So no movement whatsoever there. And then when you undo it and put it back on here, that locks in as well. So I like that as a feature, and that's also true for the Pocket Shark from Cold Steel. This cap unscrews and then screws back on. No movement whatsoever in this thing. This thing is just beastly. If they made this into a pen a little bit smaller, that would be an easy win for me to use that. So there's one more thing to think about, just basically how you, if you will, quote unquote, deploy the pen for your tactical pen. So there are some thoughts on tactical pens, and just to be candid with you, here's the deal. I know there's good ones out there, but I don't want to dump, you know, 90 bucks, 100 bucks, something like that into a tactical pen and then find out that it has one of these issues that I've already brought up that kind of, I'm just like, if I'm going to buy a pen and spend a lot of money, I want it to function excellently, especially if I'm going to spend a lot of money on it. So let's hear from you. If you've got, you know, a tactical pen out there that you just think this thing is the greatest and you can make the case on why and it doesn't have any of these issues, then let me know, because I want to get a hold of one of those pens. I've used some other ones that are, you know, there's pluses and minuses. There's one that I've actually used that has a stylus on the end of it, you know, if you're using it on your iPad or something like that. But I don't use a stylus that much. Other than that, it's got a lot of good features, but I'm not going to use the stylus as much as I'm going to use a pen and maybe some other features that could be built into a pen. So there's always good options out there, but I'm really looking for what for me is the perfect option. Eliminate all these issues, solidly made, and isn't going to run me 400 bucks. So let's hear in the comments down below, A, what you think about tactical pens, but also B, what are ones that you've used or that you have and you're like, this is an excellent, excellent pen. All right. Thanks for checking out the video. If you're not subscribed to Everyday Tactical Vids, please do so. You can just click the link down below for subscribing. And then also a reminder, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, and we're on Tumblr as well. More videos coming soon. Take care.